I'm still living out of chests in this new world, so while I finally found a house for my base, let's judge some people. I've got 5 stories lined up today, everything from wedding entitlement and affair drama to some truly weird office politics. The audacity is high in all of these, so let's just jump into the first one, see what we're working with. Am I the a-hole for refusing to exchange my honeymoon for my sister's emergency dream wedding? I, 28 female, married my husband, Mark, 30 male, 2 weeks ago. We had a very small, budget-friendly ceremony because we wanted to splurge on a once-in-a-lifetime 3-week honeymoon to Japan and Bali. We've been saving for this for 4 years. It's fully paid for, and we leave in 10 days. My sister, Chloe, 26 female, got engaged 6 months ago. The wedding was supposed to be in 2027. However, she just found out she's pregnant. Now she's panicked and wants a dream wedding now before she starts showing. The problem? She and her fiancé have 0 savings. Yesterday, my parents and Chloe sat me down for a family meeting. They proposed that Mark and I cancel our honeymoon, get the refunds where possible, and give that money plus the cash we'd spend there to Chloe so she can have a proper wedding next month. My mum said, "You're already married, the vacation is just a luxury. Chloe is in a crisis and needs this more than you need to see temples." I laughed because I thought it was a joke. It wasn't. When I said, "Absolutely not," Chloe started sobbing, saying I'm ruining her only chance to be a beautiful bride, and that I'm being selfish because I already had my moment. Mark is furious and told them to leave. Now, my extended family is blowing up my phone. My aunt messaged me saying that family sacrifices for family, and that since I'm the stable one, I should be more generous. My parents are even offering to pay us back eventually, but they have a history of forgetting debts. Am I the a-hole? No, not the a-hole. I mean, a wedding isn't an emergency, it's a privilege. And she could get married with a ceremony on the cheap and have a dream wedding celebration once the baby's born if that's the issue. Like, if you don't want your bump to be seen, do it later. Like, as long as it's not for the sole purpose of, let's say, religion and having a child before marriage, then, I mean, there's ways about that too. But I'm sorry, being that entitled that you expect someone to drop what they've saved and already paid for when it's been their whole plan, nah, that's selfish. Now, let's move on to the next scenario here. And I think I found a good one. It's titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to meet my ex's affair child? I, female, 42, was with A, male, 41. For over 15 years, when I discovered that he's been cheating on me for roughly 5 of those years. He claims that he can't remember exactly when the affair started, but whatever. By discovered, I mean that his girlfriend got pregnant, they weren't using any protection, basically told him that if he didn't tell me, she would. So he told me some lie about how it was a one-time thing, and I dug up the info that it was a multi-year affair with talk of marriage and happily ever after and so on. Meanwhile, he and I were spending tens of thousands of dollars on IVF trying to get pregnant, a story his other girlfriend apparently knew and figured would break us up, leaving him free for their dream life to commence. She was right, but instead of the true love she was hoping for, he broke up with her immediately. He has partial custody of the kid and pays support. And she's gone on a campaign to make my life miserable, suddenly showing up with the kid in places where I am, and he isn't, spreading this whole sordid Springer-esque story around in a way that somehow makes her the victim. To be clear, she knew about me, I didn't know about her, and even though she was in our social circle. My ex and I had been best friends since high school, and before we became a couple, we opened a store together, which has made it pretty damn inconvenient to not see each other at all. But now he wants me to be in the kid's life. He wants to bring it to the store, have me hang out with it, because he says, we're still in each other's lives, and the kid is an important part of his, and it's not the kid's fault, etc. I don't think that this child will lose anything by not knowing me, and knowing it is just a constant reminder that my ex gave away the life that he and I were supposed to have. Now I'm too old to have children, so it feels like even if he didn't get everything he wanted, he got more than he gave me, so I continue to insist that he keep his bastard away from me, and that I have no desire to ever meet it. Am I the a-hole? Now this one's a bit trickier, but you're still not the a-hole. Now, I get to this judgment by, obviously, you were cheated on, you were trying to have a child together, spending tens of thousands, as you say, and they just do it on a whim. Yeah, not the a-hole. But I do want to preface that the anger and resentment should not be towards the child. It's not the child's fault. That doesn't mean you need them in your life. I agree with you on that. I wouldn't do that. Not a chance. But the anger and resentment 100% needs to be directed at the ex and his, well, mistress, to put it nicely. This next one is titled, Am I the a-hole for speaking to my overweight assistant about her business lunch and making her cry? At the beginning of the year, I hired an assistant. I set up a lunch appointment with that client on Friday. I told him I would be bringing Amy as she has been instrumental in their account. He did not have a problem with this. Amy was professional, knowledgeable, and did an overall good job. The client and I were both impressed, with the exception of one thing. The client and I both ordered burgers and fries. Amy ordered a steak, well done, mashed potatoes, steamed veggies, and a side of soup. The client and I finished about the same time. It was another 15 minutes before Amy finished. Then the waitress came around and asked if we wanted dessert. The client and I both said no. Amy ordered cheesecake and coffee. I realised that I hadn't spoken to Amy about client lunches before, so after the meeting, I explained to her that it is best to follow the client's lead. If they order simple food, we order simple food. If they decline dessert, we decline dessert. If we want something afterwards, we can pick it up later. Amy did not take this well. At first, she offered to pay me back. I told her it was not a money issue. I have no problem buying her lunch, but to keep in mind it's about business. I told her I usually order wraps or burgers because they are not too messy, like spaghetti, and I can take small bites in case I'm asked a question. I can also match the client's eating speed so there is no awkward waiting on either side. Then she started crying, saying it is because she's fat, her words not mine. I again told her it was about strategy. I thought she had great potential and I wanted to help guide her. I then told her about some of my past faux pas, for example, ordering spaghetti and getting it all on my shirt, or once I ordered first and ordered a cheeseburger when the client was vegetarian and highly disgusted at me. She was still upset when she left. I feel like an a-hole for bringing this to her attention, but my intentions were good. I feel like she has great potential. The meal did not concern me as much as how she took instruction. Now I'm wondering if others think I was wrong for bringing it up at all. Not the a-hole. I mean, you dealt with this very professionally. You didn't scold her. You made it not about the actual food, but about the business orientation of it, which is one, very professional, and two, it's just plain true. Like, there's no getting about it. This feels like the type of behavior of someone who can't accept that they did anything wrong and instead turns the attack around on the other person, in which case this is you. I mean, I understand this is one incident, but it's definitely something to watch out for. I've had co-workers and past partners like this, and once you notice it, it reappears everywhere. Now, let's check this next one out. Am I the a-hole for enforcing basic boundaries on my daughter's sleepover? I, 42 male, have 2 kids living with me. My daughter, Anya, 17 female, and my stepson, Noah, 14 male. Noah's mum passed away a few years ago, and I've had full custody since. He's had a rough go of it, but he's a good kid with his quirks. He's not antisocial or shy, but he does not appreciate having his space invaded, and when very upset, he can kind of shut down. Anya is much more outgoing and has a lot of friends. She asked to have a sleepover this weekend with 4 of them. I said yes, of course. But given that the friends who were coming were pretty loud and have a tendency to crowd Noah, I told her to make sure they don't go into her brother's room. Also to keep things down after 11 so that the house can sleep. In my opinion, these are not strict rules. To my surprise, I came upstairs to check on them at about 10. They were 17. I didn't think I needed to check on them every hour or something. And they were in Noah's room, and they looked like they'd been there for a while. 2 were literally sitting on his bed with him there. One of them was flipping through his sketchbook. Another was messing with his other stuff, and they were all kind of giggling in this weird way. Noah was clearly upset. He didn't say anything or move, but there were tears in his eyes, and he didn't respond when I tried to talk to him. I told the girls to get out right then, and that I was calling every single one of their parents. Anya was pretty upset with me, but I told her that I gave them 2 rules and they failed spectacularly. I did actually call all of their parents and sent them home as soon as possible. Anya blew up, saying I embarrassed her. I told her to go to her room and that we would speak on this in the morning. I spent about 20 minutes with Noah before he decided he wanted to cool down on his own, and I went back to my daughter, who chose not to speak to me. It's late, both of my kids are hopefully asleep, and I'm left not knowing if I handled this right. Am I the a-hole? No, you are not. You set 2 very perfectly simple boundaries, and your daughter, along with her friends, disregarded this. You didn't ask for much. All you were doing was trying to look out for both of your children, which is fair. I mean, if you were to ignore what happened here, the precedent that it would set, that there was no consequences, not only for breaking the rules, but for continuing to violate someone's boundaries while they're visibly uncomfortable, I mean, no, it's not on. You gotta think she will encounter all sorts of people with different issues, past traumas, or anything that's happened in their life, and going forward, she needs to recognize when she's crossed the line. So, 10 out of 10. Not a problem, not the a-hole. Now, here's the next one. Am I the a-hole for not allowing others to use my office? I, 27 female, rent a house with 2 other girls, Tessa, 26, female, and Charlie, 31, female. It's a 5-bed, 3-bath with a finished basement. It's in a pretty nice neighbourhood, and we got it for a steal, so we've been here a couple years. Onto the issue. I work from home, and Tessa has a hybrid schedule. When we all moved in, Charlie wanted us to pay more rent, since we would be setting up offices in the 2 spare rooms. The basement is finished, so we offered for her to set up a space just for her down there. But she didn't like the idea of being banished to the basement. Her words. So Tessa and I both agreed to pay a little more rent. However, my condition was my office was not to be a shared space. Tessa didn't care about if other people use her room, but this pissed off Charlie. Charlie started arguing with me about what if she has guests and what if she needs to use an office space for something. Tessa tried to defuse and said her office could be a mixed-use room, but that wasn't good enough for Charlie. After a little back and forth, she agreed to the terms, and it wasn't really brought up again for over a year. Well, Charlie now has 2 friends coming in from Europe to stay for a couple of weeks. She gave Tessa and me a heads up the other morning. Fine with us, we love having people come stay at the house sometimes. She then slipped in that they'll need to stay in both our offices since she doesn't want them to have to put up with staying in the same room. I reminded her of my conditions of paying the extra rent and all hell broke loose. She called me self-centered and a possessive weirdo and stormed off huffing that maybe I should just drop it. This is really the only issue we've ever had. It's been a great roommate experience otherwise. that has me wondering if maybe I'm not being adaptable enough. So, am I the a-hole? The original poster has added a couple edits to the end, so let me just read them out. Total rent is $1,800. Charlie pays $500, Tessa and I each pay $650. We split all utilities 3 ways except internet. Tessa and I split that since we need it to be high speed. The house is about 1,600 square feet without the basement. I can't remember the exact square footage of the basement. The offices are the smallest rooms, and I could technically move my desk into my bedroom. However, moving my setup to the basement would take extra work as my desk wouldn't fit down the stairs. Charlie does not want her guests in the basement because it's not as nice as the rest of the house. And I think it might be because my office and Tessa's office are pretty cute. We've decorated them well. Now, definitely not the a-hole. You already had the agreement in place. She wanted you to pay extra to use those rooms, which you have done with no problems for a very long time now. So, I mean, if Charlie wanted it to be a shared space, she should not have insisted on you having to pay extra for it to be your own space. It's as simple as that. I mean, it's a typical game of F around and find out. No consolation prizes. It's just one of them. I mean, if she really wants to put her friends in somewhere nice, why doesn't she sleep on the couch? End of story. If you made it this far, consider subscribing. It really boosts my ego seeing that number go up by 1. And if you guys enjoy the Reddit stories, I keep them coming. Alright, that's it for now. Goodbye.